Hello, and welcome to the Signature Aviation FBO at Denver International Airport. It's not that exciting, really, um, but as you can tell, it is pretty busy by the sound of jet aircraft. What we have here is the black square Starship, Beechcraft Starship 2000. That's, I guess, or 2000A is the full name. Everyone just seems to call it the Starship, so I'm going to just call it the Starship. This is fresh off the presses. It's released a handful of days ago. Picked it up. I've been perusing the manual, really going through it, and I flew it in from Tulsa the other day and had a really fun flight with it. So I thought I'd film the return leg, put it up because this is such a cool plane. I want to show anyone that hasn't seen this already. I want to show them what it's about and some of the amazing features this plane has, and the level of system depth simulation down to things like the temperature of the avionics and the engine wear. Like I did a hot start on my right engine leaving Tulsa by accident, and it damaged it. I'm sitting at 94% integrity on the engine, and the other one's only at 99. So it's a really good simulation of a turboprop or turbine engine. It's super cool. And if you try and start it up with the cowl plugs or whatever you want to call them, that'll damage it as well. And if you leave the pitot covers in, that'll give genuinely inaccurate air data. Like, that is simulated. I've been fortunate enough to not have to deal with it. Oh, there goes the Southwest. I've been fortunate enough to not have to deal with it, but like, if I do forget, it's gonna let me know. So it's super cool. I've already got the aircraft preloaded. We flew a handful of business people in from Tulsa, and we're taking a couple of them back with an extra 20 pounds of baggage, taking a total of just under 2,500 pounds of fuel. So yeah, we are simulating when 45 Foxtrot Lima was owned by a company called Renaissance Energy out of Tulsa. All I really know is the aircraft was based out of Tulsa, and it flew, I guess business trips, and it's been to Denver before. I can bring up a picture here of the aircraft there at Denver, at the Signature FBO. So that's super cool. Anyways, so one of my favorite things about this aircraft is it simulates having a headset on, so you get more realistic audio. Also, as well, I'm moving my yoke, and if you listen, I think there's some clunking, because of the control lock, and now it's free. So control locks are there and stowed. Condition levers, we got these should be, yep. Those are free, and I've disconnected my mixture lever for condition because, it's a single axis, so it's not really going to work for engine start. And we're going to be doing a battery on engine start today, so no external power. So let's get the aircraft fired up here. Turn on our battery. We'll turn on our nav light, and it's going to start firing some stuff up here. Turn on our let's see here, we're going to want standby. We'll have our alternate avionics blower on because we don't have ram air. The way the avionics get cooled is through ram air inlets in the fuselage that direct it through the avionics bay and out the side. I can actually show you that here. So this is where the ram air exits, and I believe the inlets for it are, let's see here, they're somewhere. Maybe I have to take, hang on a second, maybe I have to, almost forgot, I got to take off all my static elements here. So we'll remove our gear pins, engine covers, and pitot covers. We'll leave the chocks in and the cabin door on for now. Right here, I think? No, that's for the cargo. Somewhere here there is like an inlet, and it takes like fresh air and cools the avionics. And also there are fans that run off of the generators. Right now we have the standby blower running. That runs off the battery. So if I look here, 36, what we can do is we can go temp mode auto. Just turn this all the way down. We don't have any bleed air, so I don't know how well that's going to function, but we'll see. Anyways, let's keep going here. So we can have our anti-skid system on. We'll just monitor COM1 for now. Marker audio. Yaw damper can stay off. Parking brake can just stay set. We'll just check and make sure we have a proper amount of voltage. 58 amps, yeah, and 20. Is that 25? I can't tell because of the realistic sun effects there. Yeah, that looks good. Ties can stay open for now. Props I need to do. That looks good. Alright, so what I'm going to do is run the pilot avionics. These should start coming on. Never mind. Sorry, you need external power for that. Alright, what we're going to do instead is turn on our ICAS system here. This should start booting up. So this is our engine monitoring, all that jazz. And this VATSIM AI thing gave me a squawk code here, so we'll just put that in. It's 1440. I'm going to have this on standby. Set it here. So what we'll do is, what I'm going to do is have CTAF on COM1 or COM2. We're going to monitor COM2 and COM1, but we're going to talk on the CTAF there. Alright, so let's do a batteries engine start, and then we'll plug in our flight plan. I forgot you need the generator or external power to run the pilot avionics. Let's just double check our temperature here. It's not going to get any warmer, so the faster we start, or sorry, not going to get any colder, so the faster we start our engines, the better. So I'll just run you through that here on the fly. This isn't like a big tutorial or whatever. I'm still learning this aircraft. This is just the coolest thing ever. So I got to put it up on the old YouTube there. So let's see here. Actually, what we can do is we can start one and feather it and run the generator off of that. So we have our parking brake set, so we'll not load our passengers yet. We'll start one, feather it, get the generator bus, build our flight plan, go through our briefings for departure, and then we'll start the other engine. I think that's what I'll do. This is my own SOP I'm inventing on the fly. So for a battery start, you want these to ground fine or idle. Props are going to be full forward. Condition levers are still in fuel cutoff. It's super simple. Standby pumps are coming on. Turn our anti-collision light on. Auto feather and prop sync can stay off. Probably don't need to shout clear prop. It's not that kind of airplane. Anyways, ignition and engine start to right. We have N1 rotation. You can hear the igniter clicking. So we're going to wait for it to get to 18 N1, or whenever it tops out. That's going to be its motoring phase. You want to motor it and get as much air flowing through the turbine temp thing before you introduce fuel, so now we can do it. Watch our ITTs. Okay, we didn't go anywhere near the top, so that's not a hard start. That's good. And around 50 N1 we can cut out our starter. And at 60 N1 we can bring the condition lever to run. Put our headset on here. That's going to deafen it a little bit. Alright, all of that looks good. So what we can do now is bring our right gen onto the bus. Close our gen ties. And what I should be seeing here is... Oh, is it discharging still? Oh, I think it's getting better. So let's bring these back to feather now. I think for that what we gotta do is go, yeah, down in here. Alright, so now what we'll do is we'll turn on our co-pilot, or no, we'll do our pilot avionics. We should start, we can take off our alternate blower, left engine bleeds. Okay. Honestly, I'm just going to close the door now because that's really loud and annoying. I didn't expect it to be that loud. Cabin temps indicating high. Let's take a look here. 4136. And our blowers are on high, right? Yeah, these are all on max. Auto temp. Down low, left engine. No, sorry, right engine. We want right engine. That should kick on our blower. And we'll have the alternate blower on still. Okay. Now that that's taken care of, what we'll do is we will initialize our Collins CDU something or other. Yeah, that looks good. I don't need to like update anything since I flew this in yesterday. Message here, VLF requires initialization. Okay, we'll take care of that real quick. Update VLF. Okay, we want auto lag. That should be good there. Alright, we'll go index, we'll go flight plan. It's kind of weird how you do this. You don't type in your arrival field just yet, I think. What you do is you go your departure field, Denver Airport, okay. And we're taking the plane 2 departure with the, not the Garden City transition, the Good Land transition. So that's Golf Lima Delta VOR. And then we can go, we're taking the Jet 182 airway to Wichita VOR. So the on-rail waypoints consist of the Kirk intersection and then direct to Wichita. So all we have to do is type in Kirk and then Wichita. And after that, it's going to be no arrival procedure, so we'll just type in Tulsa Airport. Alright, that should be good. We've already got auto leg on. You want to have this on auto leg for it to actually draw the route and follow it. Maybe I should stress this. This is like, you know, before they really knew what an FMS was or what it was going to be. So some of the capabilities you have can be considered like an FMS, but also it's still very like manual and sort of make it up as you go. Now our battery isn't discharging. I guess it just took a little bit. And our avionics temperature is 42, 30, 30. Okay, it's not getting too hot. I don't know. When it starts going above like 80 or 90, that's when systems are gonna start failing, I think. Anyways, let's figure this out here. So this flight plan. I'm still getting, so yeah, it's got some elements that you'd find in an FMS, but it's still very much manual. It's very similar to the LTN 92. It works for on-rail waypoints. This aircraft, I believe, is Slant Zulu equipment suffix. That's what I've been using. It's not Slant Lima. You can't do any RNAV terminal procedures with it. You might be able to load approaches. I've noticed options for that, but I haven't tried it out. So, yeah, and this, I think we need our co-pilot avionics for this. We'll just forget about that for now. Although we will need to run through some checklists, so we will need that in a bit. Anyways, let's see here. We can do a couple more things. We'll need VOR1. So for the departure today, we're using the planes 2 departure, which is take off any runway, get vectors for your radial apply to that. In this case, we're doing good land, so we're going to take off vectors for the 87 radial off at the Denver VOR to the Xtan intersection, then to Thurman, then to the Goodland VOR. So I'm going to set Denver on an 87 radial on my side, and I'll get Thurman on standby. So that's 117.9 and 112.9. And if you pull this out, you can get 8.33 kilohertz. That's useful if you're flying in Europe there. And we'll set 87 here. And the runway we're going to use today, there's no ATIS available for Denver, but I can just grab a METAR real quick off of literally anywhere. Today it's going to be V-Pilot, and it's showing, you know, KVOC conditions, few 15,000, temperature 31, so it's pretty hot. I can see why the avionics are having a hard time sort of getting, you know, getting it down at least. 230 at 11. So what we'll do is we will take one of the 16s. We're gonna take let's take 17 right. I came in on 17 right. We'll take 17 right. So we'll depart runway 17 right. That's a runway track of 173. I usually do like an NADP to departure, so I will what I'll do is I'll climb 1,500 feet, we'll set climb power, and then 3,000 feet we'll slow down to go to a 130 knot climb speed, and we'll retract the forward wing and the flaps. And if we have an engine out before V1, we'll auto feather will take care of that, and we'll just bring it down, pull off to the side, you know. If we have it after V1, again, auto feather will take care of that, and we will basically just make a 360. There's so many runways here, you're pretty safe. We'll also set the top altitude for this departure is 10,000 feet, and we'll set the local barometric pressure of 2975. I love it. If you're familiar with the Saab 340, it's these similar avionics, but this is even more fancier actually. Anyways, all runways fly, initial heading for radar vectors. Yeah, so it's exactly as I would have expected. Yeah, so the power settings for departure, all the stages of flight are listed in the manual. I have that sort of up as a quick reference. But I believe for climb power it's 1600 prop thing, and not above 840 ITT. For takeoff, the power setting, I believe, so 1700 RPM, 100% torque, 850 ITT. So almost the same, just a little bit extra. It requires a long takeoff roll, this aircraft, but you know, it's whatever. We'll just set go around there. Alright, that's looking pretty good. We'll say our passengers have already boarded and they're waiting for us to go, so seatbelts are coming on, anti-cool's already on. Okay, let's just double check. 42, alright. Turn off our avionics alternate blower. We'll turn off our pilot avionics. We need all the generator power we can get for this. So I'm gonna bring these guys out of feather. I'm gonna bring this guy full forward. And what I want to do, I remember seeing this on a Twitch stream. Obviously the generator load is going to go mostly to the starter for the engine. So let's see, I'm monitoring right. Gen volts. Let's see what happens when we click this. R load percent. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. All right, we got N1 rotation. Just show you guys that there. That's pretty cool. I just love the simulation in this, man. It feels so just refined and perfect and everything. Alright, she's motoring. I'll let her motor for a little bit more and then we'll bring it in. ITTs, those look normal. $50 starter cutout, and $60 will go to run. Okay, looks like she's stabilized. Go props full forward here. Bring this gen onto the bus, close these bus ties. Turn our pilot avionics. We'll go both on the bleeds. And we'll turn on our oxygen system now that all the doors are shut. Okay. Now we've got to this here, the not the iCast, but like the, I guess, multifunction display or something or the other. That's really handy. FMS progress. Let's make sure Kirk, Wichita, Tulsa. That's all good. Okay. We might get a VLF disagree. I'm not sure. We'll see here in a second. This is all locked in here. I guess we'll just leave that on index for now. No codes on the avionics. Okay, this all looks good. There's any line select key. So let's go to the after start. Or no, not the before taxi. We'll do in a second here. We'll run the before taxi checklist here. So we're gonna turn auto feather on. Props are full forward. Condition levers are run. Not the yaw damper yet, but we can extend our forward wing and our flaps. You can see that coming out there. That's pretty cool. That is pretty neat. Oxygen system's on. So we're going up to 3.5, so we'll, bug 3.6. I guess that's a good rule of thumb to have for these more manual pressurization systems. Temp mode's auto. Okay, let's just double check to make sure. I love this little schematic here. This looks good. That's our cabin temp at 20 degrees. That's good. Alright, we'll turn back on our GA mode so we can get, flight direction here. And I'm taking my time here. I'm enjoying sort of doing this meticulously. There's not really a rush. Okay, let's run the before taxi checklist. So the pilot and co-pilot avionics are on. Standby indicators are on and functioning. Bleed air valves are set to both. Blowers and temperatures are set. Temp mode selector is set to auto. The lights are set as required. Cabin lights or furnishings are set as required. No smoking and seatbelt signs are on. Pilot and co-pilot instruments are operating. Flap and forward wing has been retracted. AHRS aligning message has been extinguished. Just double check here. Yeah, nothing here, nothing there. CDU time, date, and position has been verified. We can actually go here real quick to system sensors. Position unsearched 0.233. You know what? We could do a little bit better than that actually. Position hold, sensors update VLF. There's other ways to do this, I think. Position enable VLF. We have GNSS off alarm status. 0.67. Okay, never mind. It's just magically gotten better. All right, cool. Thanks, man. Go back to index here. Radar is set to standby. We'll double check that actually. This is standby. Auto tilt we'll have on. But we still want it on standby. Brakes, well, we'll check those. So the flap and forward wing, I can't remember if you need that extended or retracted for takeoff. Because I had it retracted and I took off really well, like my performance was pretty well. you know, obviously you extend the flaps out of habit, but I think we'll just leave it as is. We'll heat up our windshield here. We'll wait to turn our pitot static until we're close to the runway, because it can actually overheat on the ground. So, and it's 30 degrees out. So, anyways, everything looks pretty swell here. So, for the last time, I'm gonna check no ATC in Denver. Our route to the runway, we're just gonna take from signature. We're gonna take Lima 1 Mike to hold Mike 10. We'll just use all the runway. Denver traffic, November 4-6, Foxtrot Lima is at signature, taxiing Lima 1 Mike 10, 17 right down. And we've got here a little man coming in, so that's pretty cool. Alright, let's release the brakes here. And with the props full forward, it should start moving. If I give it like a little bit of gas here. We'll actually bring our props back for now for taxi. I love the mechanical squeaking of the brakes. Alright, we're clear on both sides there. Here's Lima 1. Using a lot of differential braking. That's kind of how I taxi turboprops. And this guy, what is this? Oh, it's a 777. Ain't that something? That's pretty cool. I'm going kind of ham on these brakes here. No, it's a 787. Sorry, that's my bad. We'll bug our VX speed, and that'll open up the little fast slow window, which is really cool. I kind of like it better than an airspeed tape. I don't know. I think it just works more in my favor. It's just more my style. I'd say when we reach about 8,000 feet, we'll turn on course. That seems to be the right way to do that. Frontier there. And I'm hearing nothing on CTAF or Unicom. I'm monitoring both just out of, like, I'm talking on CTAF, because that's what you're supposed to use now. It used to be just Unicom everything, but VATSIM's got some new sort of way they like to do things. It's down there, it's United. Alright, we're approaching the Mike 10 here. So what we'll do is we'll turn our radar to the ground map. Turn on landing lights and our strobe light. We'll turn, so auto feather's on, we can turn on our yaw damper. This is Mike 10 here. Slow it down a little bit. Okay, before takeoff. So this would include the run-up procedure, so we're just going to do final items here. Stall warning heat and pitot heat is coming on. Pitot static heat's on, engine anti-ice protection not required, vent and cable heat is on, I believe. There we go. Bleed air valves are on both. Transponders on, annunciators and ICAS messages are not there. External lights are set, cockpit lights not required, windshield heat's low, engine auto ignition not required, generator loads. Just check these real quick, and this is 0, that's good. Pitch and rudder trim is green and in the center bands. We do have a trim indicator, I believe. There we go, we'll just move that to takeoff setting. Checklist is complete. So what I'll do now is I'll go to the present position map. I'm just going to declutter it here and give myself the radar. And we can actually see here our route, which is really cool. But also we can get a terrain map, which we can't really see because we're facing away from the Rocky Mountains. But I've got nobody coming in on final here, so we'll say Denver traffic 6 Foxtrot Lima is departing 17 right, planes 2 departure to the east, Denver. Okay. We'll also set our props full forward here. There's that United. Give it a little bit more here. Okay. So let's set 850 ITT, 100% torque. Auto feathers on. There we go. There we go, we already got the pitot overheat light. That'll clear out in a little bit once we start climbing. This has a long takeoff roll. That's one thing I know about it. Alright, there's rotate. Positive rate, gear up. And we'll just get her, start trimming her here. And pitot overheat light has extinguished there, so that's good. Alright, 1500 feet, we're going to set props to 1600 feet, or 1600 feet, 1600 whatever. And ITTs are within range, we can actually set it to a bit more here. And we'll go autopilot on, we'll go heading IAS profile. Which is actually going to put in a pretty steep climb here, so let's go vertical speed instead. Let's do IAS profile actually for our current indicated airspeed. Go like 145. Okay. And we're coming through 9,000 feet. We can turn our nose light off. We can turn auto feather off and prop sync on. And coming up on 10 grand here, we'll bug 3.5 now. Tell you what, let's go vertical speed. We'll select something like 32. It likes to climb fast, this plane. Alright, now we'll go heading select. And we're going to turn now to intercept that radial. Let's just fly heading 09 or 0 for now. And we're not picking up Thurman yet, so whenever we do. And I'll just let it slowly come down to 130 knots, because that is actually like your, not your VX climb, but like just your good performance climb for this aircraft. Denver traffic 6 Foxtrot Lima is through 11.6, turning direct Thurman, last call Denver. Okay, now let's run through the climb checks. Yaw dampers on, climb power has been set. We'll just quick reference that. ITTs are good. Prop we can bring back a little bit. There we go, just make sure they're in the green. Prop sync is on, engine displays, monitoring, cabin pressurization. Let's check here, we are climbing. Diff pressure looks good. Cabin out looks good. No smoking and seat belts. Set as required. We're about to turn those off once we go through 15 here. And lights are set. So we'll go back to our map. We'll just leave it like that. Coming through 10,000 above field elevation. We can let these guys come out and chill for a little bit. Still not picking up Thurman. We're still about like 60 miles or so, and maybe due to our altitude we're getting a low signal. Name of the game with this aircraft is just signals of radios and all kinds of crazy fun stuff. It's pretty cool. With the VLF Omega navigation, which let's double check here. I love checking this out and just seeing the position uncertainty, monitoring that for when we have to do we don't really have to do like native locked in position updates if we don't want to. We can get it to auto update using VOR stations en route. What you do is you go to your nav page here and you just select these to auto, but we're going to leave them on manual for now since obviously we're using it for the departure procedure. Bring our vertical speed back a little bit more. We'll set standard pressure on both altimeters and the standby. Okay, let's go IES profile. There we go. Still climbing really fast. We can bring our ITTs are getting pretty high here, so we'll just bring it back a little bit. Pretty amazing, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, there was our radial. So let's go nav. It's really good with intercepting radials, like it's very clever. A lot of aircraft, whether it's like that in real life or not, I don't know, but a lot of aircraft I fly in the flight simulator have a really hard time capturing radials. They're always overshooting them, usually overshooting rather than undershooting. So this one, however, is super intuitive. Like it's very relaxed. It's not overbanking. You know, the vertical speed mode though, it's kind of, you know, it's vertical parameters are a little bit dodgy, but laterally, like it's very smooth. Makes very, you know, calm turns, I guess, is the best way that I would describe it. I really like this. It's not, you know, you don't really have to babysit the engines, but you just monitor them and incorporate them into your workload. Oh yeah, standby pumps as well. These can come off. These were just needed for engine start, I believe. Now it's gravity feeding the hopper tanks for the engines, which is, I guess, pretty standard fuel system for a turboprop or a jet or whatever. You have your main and your augs and then the hopper tank before the jet engine, because it requires such a high fuel pressure, I believe, is the way that goes. What we can do now, leave it like that. Let's go radar control, let's go weather and turbulence, which should anyone's guess if it's going to pick anything up. I seem to recall Microsoft Flight Sim has like an issue with weather radars and stuff. It's just the API is bad for it or something or other. Don't quote me on that. So I'm still waiting to pick up Thurman. I have 112.9 set. Let's see if I'm picking up Akron. Okay, we're picking up Akron, which is very, very close by, so it does worry me why we're not picking up Thurman. We're not getting a pointer for it, I don't believe. Well, we're still going to track this out for another 67 till 67 DME, so we've got, you know, we've got some wiggle room here. So what I'm gonna do is cut it here. We've got a little bit until we move to flying on the Omega VLF system. because the terminal procedures in America are like huge, like they're 600, whatever, 200-mile long SIDS and stars, so we've got a lot to go before we actually start navigating on the VLF Omega. So I'll cut now and get back to you guys when we switch over from the Goodland VOR to tracking from Goodland to the Kirk intersection. So that should be pretty cool. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Welcome back aboard the flight deck, flight level 350, struggling to get up to our normal cruise of 310 true airspeed. Anyways, we're coming pretty close to Goodland VOR here. And what we can do is just go present position direct Goodland so that the changeover is nice and smooth. So I'm going to engage roll mode and select FMS1 as our nav source. And I'm going to go direct to Golf Lima Delta. It's going to change to present position direct Golf Lima Delta. We can engage nav. 13 miles, 14 miles, yeah, that checks out. Okay, so now we're tracking on the Omega VLF, and to make it a little more accurate as we go along, we can go to our nav and do auto tuning for the VORs. Give that a couple seconds, it'll just auto tune some stations. And as well as that, we can also look at VLF Omega status. Position uncertainty 0.1 miles, so that's perfectly fine. Generally 0.3 is when you want to do a position update if it hasn't already done it. But I believe if we check, we can make sure, yes, we're using the VORs and the VLF Omega. GNSS not enabled because that is not accurate for the 80s, man. Full realism, you know how it is. At least in this instance, I'm going to be a huge stickler for realism. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool plane. So I'll call you overhead, probably overhead Wichita or Kirk or something. That's when I think I want to start briefing. Not really a certainty on when we'll get a descent. Kansas City Center is, well, they were online, now they're offline, so we're going to be self-vectoring. More than likely what we'll do is we'll descend. Yeah, SimBrief has given me a top of descent 35 miles east of, like past the Wichita VOR. So we'll descend overhead Wichita just for good safekeeping or whatever. So I guess getting close to Kirk, I'll call you guys back into the video or whatever. I'll turn it back on and we'll start briefing for the arrival into Tulsa. Welcome back to the flight deck once again. We're 47 miles from the Kirk intersection, and thereafter going to the Wichita VOR, and then we'll switch over to conventional navigation, I guess. I'm going to start briefing now, and after we're done, I'll cut it and pick you guys back up, probably through 10,000. That's when we're going to start running some checklists and stuff. The Ram Air, I think, is doing a pretty good job because we're sitting at 15 degrees. I turned down the blower speed a bit. I think I'm just going to turn it all the way to low and leave it like that until we get on the ground. And when we get on the ground, I'll turn the blower speed back up high because I think the Ram Air is doing more than enough for us in terms of keeping the avionics cool. So we'll get the weather for Tulsa here, which I was kind of worried planning this little round trip out because it's like, you know, spring, summer. Oklahoma likes to make a lot of tornadoes, but it's clear. Like, it's great. I think maybe tornado season's past. That might be more May. What is still here, though, is winds. I'm reading 180 at 19, gusting 27 knots. I don't know what, I think for a gust factor, that's like, I don't know. Is it the component subtracted by the gusts. I think, no, it's the gust. Oh, we'll call it 20 knots gust factor. That seems fine. Don't quote me on that. I have to look that up. Scattered 4,400 feet, 3.2, dew point 2.2. Altimeter is 299 or 3. Yeah, okay, so it is windy. Tulsa's got plenty of runways to pick from, though. And they all kind of suit our performance here. I think our minimum takeoff roll is 3,100 feet or something. So, should anything happen. We are going to this set of hangars here. I believe it's called, not Atlantic Aviation Services is where we're going, which I believe is this big hangar right here. It's like a hangar and then there's an FBO on the side. And I believe they parked it in the hangar when they had this aircraft, the company, which we can't really do, but nevertheless, I think we'll take 18 right. Let me just see what approaches we have on demand here. Let's go Tulsa. Procedures, approaches. Not for 08, but approaches available. Okay, so 18 right has a RNAV. And because the conditions are pretty clear, I think we're going to take, because I think we can load an approach in if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to double check here. Flight plan. Approach. I don't know what this is rated for. Like if it can do, if this, the Omega VLF can do precision approaches, that's not something I'm seasoned on. However, if I select RNAV 18 right, and the transitions we have, are there just going to be like random things? Yeah. So what we'll do is we'll just go radar vectors to vid key, I think. I'll do vectors. Whoa. What I can do here is I can go plan map, display, bring the range in. So it looks like what we're gonna do is after Wichita, we are gonna go direct to the initial approach fix of vidkey, and then fly the approach procedure, which is perfect. Let me just check out VNAV advisory. I want to try this out a little bit. I'm going to do a little bit of experimenting here. I didn't use this the last time, so I was flying a conventional terminal procedure, and I just got vectors for the visual from Denver ATC. So let me just see here. So we need to be 3,500 at vidkey. So if I type in entry too short. Alright, if I go to the scratch pad here, type in 3,500, put it on vidkey with a target speed of 800 feet per minute. So if I need to consult the manual here, but I'm pretty sure it means that after Wichita we descend at 800 feet per minute to get down. This is my first time using the VNAV, but I feel pretty comfortable. From Wichita to the initial fix, how many miles is that? 114. That kind of checks out, yeah. I'd say, maybe a little bit more, but yeah. I think we'll wait until this gets to 1,000 and then we'll start descending. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. So we'll get VNAV advisory on this side, and we'll just do, not flight plan, but FMS data. Okay. So let's brief for the RNAV approach, assuming this aircraft is rated for it. For uncompensated Barrow VNAV systems, LNAV VNAV not authorized, that's perfectly fine. Don't have to worry about that, nobody's here. We do have a flight director and autopilot. I'm just checking here. So we are LNAV only, so we'll take the LNAV minimums of 512 feet. We'll open up the decision height window, and we'll just round it to the nearest tenth there on MDA. It's 512. So we'll just say 520. We're going to have the runway anyway. We're going to come in at Vidkey 3500 from the Wichita VOR. After Vidkey, we'll descend to Croak, and after Croak, we'll fly a non-standard 2.75 degree glide path down to the runway. And do we have checks here for our altitude? Not really, I don't think. Croak is 6 miles from the runway, so we should be visual anyway. However, this is the MDA, right? And is the MDA listed? 11,800. So we need to be at 1,180 feet, 1.7 miles to the runway. I guess that's our check. Approach speed, I want to come in at 120 knots for the wind, and we'll go down to like 100, 110 over the numbers. For 120, we'll round that up to like 600 feet per minute, and just kind of we'll shimmy it a little bit. Missed approach, I have Susney, I noticed in the FMS already, so we'll keep that like so. And it's a hold, so that's fine. We can just do a manual hold, and 600 feet airport elevation. So we'll adjust that in our pressurization right before we start down. Set the field elevation there. Once we touch down, we'll just throw it into ground fine and then reverse. Try and get off at Lima too. I'm not going to use any braking. I think if I do that approach, like, and not max reverse, just kind of a low level reverse, get off at Lima too. And then it's almost a straight taxi on Lima Bravo to Atlantic Aviation. We're landing with not an excess amount of fuel, and we are not, we didn't use max takeoff weight, so we're not super heavy, so I feel comfortable coming in at like a normal VREF, even with the winds. So yeah, that concludes the approach briefing, I think. We'll make our calls on CTAF. I don't expect any ATC to come online anytime soon. We're coming up on 1,000 feet on the VNAV advisory, so I'm pretty sure that means what I think that means. I'm going to consult the manual later, so don't quote me on this. Is that from present position to the fix, you will need to descend at this rate to reach this altitude by that fix. So I'm going to descend now to. So let's do. So what was the field elevation again? 678. I'm seeing on the ground chart. So we'll select, this is in thousands actually, so I'm going to bring this down. You can see our cabin is descending now. 670, so we'll just put it like there. We're going to bug 3,500 feet. Okay. I don't believe there's a descent checklist. I think it goes straight into the, oh actually there is, yeah. Oh, cruise checks we didn't run. We did set our climb power though and maintained that and monitored the ITTs the whole way there. Auto feather was turned off, lights were set, engine displays, and fuel quantity has been monitored. So we've emptied all our AUX tanks, so we've got total like 1,600 I think. So that's roughly 1,600. So let's go back, run our descent checks. Pressurization altitude has been set. Rate knob, not required really, we'll just let it be. Standby altimeter. Set standard pressure for now. No smoking and seatbelts are off for now. We'll turn them about 10,000 feet above field elevation. Power is set to maintain about 300 knots true airspeed, and the lights are set as required. Alright, I'm going to call you guys getting closer to the airport because it's just going to be a nice little chill descent now. So yeah, see you guys in a little bit. Okay, we're coming through 10,000 feet here, so I'm going to tell everyone to strap in. Oh, it looks like I forgot to turn off my landing lights. That's a bad mark for me. Whatever. One thing that's really interesting I'd like to note is we are very obviously doing a shallow descent. Like, we started descending around 60 miles before SimBrief wanted us to descend through their own calculations. And I know the Starship profile, I think the Black Square guy did it himself and submitted it to SimBrief, so I know it's not crazy or nothing. And the cabin was descending so fast because I had the rate knob to the normal position, kind of more facing up here, that the differential pressure, or delta P or whatever, exceeded the limit of whatever that is, PSI maybe, and I got a master caution differential, cabin differential pressure. So initially I climbed it back up to 3.5 with max rate, fixed the DP, and then set it back down to the Tulsa field elevation with the rate turned down, and that fixed it. So, like, I've never had that happen in an aircraft before. Like, the depth of the systems, man. Like, you can't get away with anything. There's no cheats. It's so cool. I'm really just falling in love with this plane, man. Like, just the quality of it and everything. Anyways, we're getting pretty close now to our initial approach fix. We still got 23 miles to go. So I'll pick it back up coming over said fix, and we're going to start preparing the aircraft for landing. I'm going to try and get it fully configured before croak. 120 knots, gear down, flaps and forward wing extended, so that we can fly down at the proper vertical rate to try and be as close to on profile as we can. So, yeah. Alright, we're approaching the initial approach fix here. I've turned on the terrain radar. We're going to switch to monitor CTAF and say that November 46 Foxtrot Lima is 6,100 feet, 15 miles to the northwest, planning a straight in full stop for runway 18 right, Tulsa. I don't know. If I remember to make traffic calls, I'll make traffic calls regardless of if there's planes there. It's just, it's good habits and whatever. I believe we have an approach and then a landing checklist. Descend before landing. No, it's before landing, so we'll wait a little bit to run that. Once we get established on profile after croak, I'll run that checklist. Bump it up a little bit here. Let's go 1400, and let's bring our props back to flight idle and start slowing her down now. We'll put 120 knots for the speed window to sort of help us fly that on approach. Okay, 4 miles to the fix. I don't think we're going to cross it exactly on profile. I'm a little bit uncertain of that. I guess we'll see. 1,000 feet to go. Actually, no, we'll probably be okay. Not that, but pick it up to 900 here. There we go. Don't want to do ground fine. We'll try and, yeah, we'll keep it at 180 knots for now. I've got the field in sight there. Okay, turning on course now, so we can bug 2,500 feet. We'll say vertical speed, take us down. We'll get our nose light ready. There we go. Pretty much on profile. I guess, yeah, the nav accuracy stayed the same. We're starting to get some terrain information coming up as well. Alright, I'm going to go idle. What I'm going to do is go prop sync off, auto feather arm. Props can go full forward. The auto feather should engage. It's not. Okay, we'll stay for a little bit here, I guess. Give that a second. There we go. No, I'm still. What's going on here? I'm putting it in idle. Radio altimeter's coming alive. Alright, I'm going to extend the forward wing and the flaps. That's getting my attention for sure now. Alright, we're leveling off at 2,500 feet. I'm going to keep slowing her down. Okay, we'll extend the gear now. Nose lights on. Just try and anticipate that. Alright, now let's go props full forward. There we go, auto feathers on. VATSIM audio is acting up, nevertheless. So to do the 120, it's 584, so we'll just say 600 feet per minute. Once we pass Croak. Missed approach altitude is 3,000 feet. We'll also bug that in a little bit. Alright, now we can go vertical speed. And we'll say 6. And we'll also bug the missed approach altitude, 3,000 feet. It's not really descending. Speed, there we go. Okay. We'll try and compensate and go 700 feet per minute. And slow it down a little bit more. Alright, let's run the landing checklist. Approach speed is confirmed. Pressurization almost dead on, so that's perfect. Plug VREF now. So we gotta slow her down a little bit more. Pressurization, yeah. No smoking and seatbelts on. Auto feathers arm. Landing gear is extended. Confirmed. Down. Lights are set. Autopilot's not disconnected yet. We will. Prop syncs off. Radar is set to terrain. Yaw damper will be turned off. Checklist complete. That is so cool. It's a very well done. It's like done in-house kind of terrain radar. Alright, I'm gonna shallow out our descent a little bit here. Disconnect the autopilot in a second. Alright, yeah, visual with the runway. Let's do this. So click it again to cancel that noise. Flight directors are off, yaw dampers off. Tulsa traffic 6 Foxtrot Lima is final for 18 right Tulsa. Now I'm not really that good with landing turboprops, so we'll see. I'm not really good with landing at all. But we got a nice headwind right down the pipe, so like we're in a pretty good spot. We can shallow that descent rate out as well. Let's try and shoot for like 400. So bring the power in and let it just naturally sort of pitch up, throw in a bit of trim there. There we go. That was a little bit too much. just sort of help, you know, fly it with use your power settings to help it pitch where you want it to pitch. Start slowing her down a bit more. Oh yeah, we passed our decision height, but we will continue. We're stabilized. Always in sight. Keep her coming. Throw in a bit more pitch. I can feel those gusts now. Into the ground effect. Touchdown. There we go. Come on, give me reverse. There we go. We'll stow that. Retract the wing. Radar can go to standby. Oh, I should have taken that exit. Oh, what is this, man? This is gonna hurt our gear. Ow. Tulsa traffic, 6 Foxtrot Lima is clear of 18 right, taxiing to Atlantic Aviation, last call, Tulsa. Alright, let's go. This is it here, this is the FBO, I believe. So let's just run through some after takeoff flows here. Turn all these guys off. Oxygen we can turn off. Taxi's off. Yeah, we should clear that guy's wing. Are you gonna... Oh, some of these ramp workers, man, I swear. I'll let that guy cross while I do some other checks here. We'll leave our bleed systems on for now. Auto feather can be disarmed. Turn our anti-skid off. Just shutting down a few systems here. So what I'll do is I'll just park it like right in front of the hangar here. I think normally they just tow it into the hangar. Alright, let's do that. Parking brake is set. Bring our props back here, we'll feather them. Alright, now we gotta go about shutting down our systems. Temp mode off, bleed air off. Everything is good. We can do ATC standby. Reset our code. And let's turn off our avionics. Pilot, co-pilot. Turn our alternate blower on just in case. So we'll open up our bus tie. Bring our gens off the bus. And then we'll shut her down. Yeah, I know. There they go. That is pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. They did the effects pretty well. And they're probably gonna windmill a bit, I guess, based on the winds. I don't know. Oh, they're sitting all right. All right. What we'll do now is we will also kill this, kill this. Just make sure that's okay. We'll kill our ICAS. Seatbelts, no smoking, anti-call. Not that, but we'll nav. Okay, and then we can do the final. Actually, I should have hit the bus bar there, yeah. Shutting down of the battery. Now we will chock the wheels, throw the pitot cover, engine cover, and gear pins in. And we'll open up the cabin door. What they'd probably do is deboard and then pull it into the hangar, I would imagine. These are really annoying, by the way. The scenery's not that great, but even still, oh man. Welcome to Tulsa, Oklahoma, the once home of 45 Foxtrot Lima. I don't know why these ramp workers, they think they're like, I don't know, like what are they doing? What are they up to? He's marshalling literally nothing. Like, there is no one here for you, little bro. I don't know. Welcome, anyways, yeah, so that was, oh man, that was super cool. So I was unaware that this thing could do precision or non-precision approaches so well, but it can. So I'm really impressed. Highly recommend spending the money on this aircraft. It is 100% worth it. I've found 0 bugs. I have 0 performance issues. Like right out of the box, this thing is so refined, it's not even funny. This is how all flight sim add-ons should be. You pay the money, you get a good product that delivers on its promises, and you don't wind up in forums for 6 hours trying to diagnose a problem with something you spent your hard-earned money on. That should be reserved for real life, like when you buy Chinese parts or you use Harbor Freight tools, or in my case Princess Auto tools. Like, that's where you should be not getting your money's worth or whatever. The flight sim, you should just come on, man. Like, we're trying to have fun here, and this is a fun plane. This is super cool. I hope you enjoyed watching my little flight in it. It's not a tutorial, and I don't know all that much about the plane, just like a basic operating level, and I'm still picking it up as I go along. I only ever made a tutorial for the Fokker 28 and the Mad Dog from Leonardo. The Fokker 28 tutorial was not necessary. Just Flight did their own very good job of it. That was stupid of me, I think, to make that. As for the Mad Dog, I would have tried to have been a little more professional, but I don't think the tutorial itself is bad enough to the point where I should go back and make a new one. But as far as I'm concerned, there's still not really other particularly notable tutorials for the Mad Dog. I know the one by Mustafa for back in P3D, that was a really good one. I like that one. But yeah, that's probably the only tutorial I've made that I actually feel was justified. So I'm not going to label myself and say, oh, it's a tutorial for the new plane. I'm sure you guys are all going to want to know how to fly it. I'm learning too, man. I'm right there with you guys. I just thought I'd put it up there and show it to you. So, safe travels. I'll see you guys in the next video if I find something else to do. I don't know. I really convinced myself that I wasn't going to take this too... Well, I'm not taking it seriously. I convinced myself I wasn't going to make this much videos. I was like, oh, get back into it. But so far, I'm putting them out kind of frequently because I just like it. So I might as well just keep going with it. Alright, see you guys in the next one.